doing this story over Muscogee Women in Power. I wanted to talk to you today because you're one of the 3 women that are on council currently.
Yes.
Let's see. How does that feel, with representation as a woman in your position?
How does it feel to be a woman?
Yeah, your experience as one of the only 3 female council reps.
My experience as a council rep as only, hold on, let me start over, because I gotta figure out how I'm gonna say this. So being one of only 3 women on the council has been an interesting position. I have loved my time serving my people, and I think that it has been an enormous blessing and honor, and it has come with a lot of challenges. When you work in a male-dominated environment, there are different dynamics than if it's more balanced, and that has been pretty prominent during my time here on council.
Okay. So would you consider yourself a feminist?
I don't know if I would consider myself a feminist. I don't know that I wouldn't consider myself a feminist. That sounds so indecisive, but I truly and sincerely dream of a day where it doesn't matter. When the people that sit at my table, doesn't matter if you're female, if you're male, if you're an elder, if you're not an elder. I think that when you have 16 people sitting at one table, we all have an equal voice. And all of those other paradigms and preset notions that are forced on us as we're growing up just evaporate. I dream of a day where it doesn't matter.
Do you think that the way that we kind of that unbalance that you say that we have, do you think that has to maybe do with the Muscogee Creek culture, how our roles are, the male roles and the female roles in that? Do you think that might have something to do with the imbalance?
The imbalance that I have seen while my time serving on council, I do not attribute that to cultural teachings. In fact, I attribute it to the value system of our oppressors. Muscogee culture does not put women down. Muscogee culture celebrates women. Muscogee culture does not tell a woman, know your place. We do have roles as men and women in Muscogee culture, and I embrace those. And there's a time and place for those. But when we sit at this table, that's a business setting, and that's not necessarily solely a cultural setting. And when you have institutional bullying and you have sexual harassment and you have these attitudes of our oppressors that are prevalent here, I think that those are behaviors of people who've grown up during historical trauma. And until we choose as a nation to break free from that trauma, we will continue to see these problems that we have currently.
So going into making decisions, making the tough decisions and the reaction to your choices as a woman, could you talk about how how you've experienced making tough decisions and the reactions that you have got from it? Do you think that attributes to you being a woman? If you were a male, it wouldn't be so much of a big deal since you're a woman.
I do think the way that I have made decisions while sitting at this table, I do think that they have been, in some instances, judged more harshly because I am a woman. If I make a tough decision or an unpopular decision, then I'm automatically called an expletive. But if a man makes that same decision, then that man is celebrated for being tough and really digging in and advocating for the people. We've had meetings where male representatives have yelled at employees and nothing was done. Nobody complained, no investigation was launched, and yet I was investigated for accusations and was never allowed to face my accusers. So I think that there is a disparity there, and you definitely have to walk more on eggshells as a female sitting at this table than you do as a male. There have been complaints against male representatives that were never investigated, that internal affairs never looked into, and I think that's gender equality, and I think it's wrong.
Can you talk about some of those allegations, or like what kind of that they are, or is that
Well, they were, I don't know, I mean,
like what nature, at least of what nature those allegations are?
there were former allegations that council members had intimidated and threatened employees, and those were reported to the speaker, and they were never investigated.
Sorry, it's just for my own.
Yeah. No, I mean, that clarifies, you know.
Yeah.
So, we kind of answered your question before. What are some inspirational figures for you? Like people that have inspired you to, to be in this position, and why you ran for council?
The people who inspire me, that is such an amazing and long list. I will try to be brief because I try to find inspiration daily, and the Muscogee people greatly inspire me. The people who have let me into their lives. I mean, I've had citizens call me, and the wonderful thing about this job is you have people that let you into their life, and they let you share a part of their story and what's happening to them. And sometimes it's a celebration, and sometimes it's some of the darkest times in their life, and you walk through those with people. And so just Muscogee people in general inspire me because we are such a strong and vibrant, intelligent, articulate, amazing people. And what I see is the disparity in that we can't translate that into the external world, and that's frustrating for me. But my mom inspires me. She sat at this table for a number of years and made some really tough decisions and fought some wonderful battles. She served on many of our boards. People like Sandy Golden, you know, and Nancy Watson, they inspire me. They were women on this council. Sandra Peters, you know, they were, you want to talk about a male-dominated council. I mean, they were outnumbered just like we were, but I don't think it was necessarily about genders. I think it was about everyone advocating for what they believed in. And, you know, my grandmother still inspires me. She's been gone, Lizzie Bruner, she's been gone since 2011, and she was tremendous in her spirit, in her presence, and her kindness, and her grace. My sisters inspire me. I have 3 sisters, and each one of them is an amazing mother, and they're wonderful and just warm people. And my children inspire me. They're a huge part of the reason why I do what I do. And I think that if we look hard enough, even on our darkest days, whenever you just open your eyes and you look up, you can find inspiration in anything and in every setting.
And so you say advocacy, you know, and these women, you know, that were on council. What was the reason that you ran for council?
I ran for council because I felt like I was being led to run for council. I had been praying for a number of months. I felt like there was something bigger that I was supposed to be doing, and I wasn't doing it. And I prayed daily for a number of months, and I had about 10 people who talked to me about running for council. And when I first started getting approached by people to run for council, I said, oh, no, thanks. And I walked off thinking, sure, right. I thought that was crazy. And, you know, but the more I really opened my heart and opened my mind, I felt like it's what I was supposed to do. And so I ran in that special election for my seat whenever George Tiger left my seat and he became principal chief. And against all odds, I was elected. and it's been an amazing journey since 2012. I've learned a lot, I've grown a lot, I've failed a lot, and that's okay because it's a continual learning process. Nobody steps into this job prepared. No matter how prepared you think you are not prepared. We have no training system. When you come in and you're not familiar with the system, you don't know the difference between an NCA, an NCR, a TR. You don't know those things. You don't know what clerks do what. You don't know what books to look in for what. You don't even know where to go and sign up for your insurance. We have no training system for the leaders of our nation. That's crazy. This council's been in existence for decades. In a basic company, I mean, if you go to work for our casino, you have to go through a week-long training process to learn how to sweep the floors, or to run the machines, or to park cars. You have an orientation process, but the leadership of our nation does not. I think that that's a serious lacking, and that's a serious lack of vision that we have, and an under expectation. We're setting ourselves up for failure, and the result is harmful to our people. We could be better leaders if we would be more organized and more focused and prepare better. Sorry, I rambled there.
No, it's
I feel like every question you're asking me, I'm just totally rambling.
No, just like kind of just for me right now, it's like such a woman thing to say. It's like, we need just to get organized.
No, trust me. Yeah, because there have been a lot of, I mean, when I first came to council, I had in my mind envisioned this camaraderie that there would be between the women at this table. And there was none. And in fact, after I got elected and I was sworn in, about a week later, I got a call from a female rep that's not on this council anymore, informing me that I would get a call every month telling me how to vote because all the women voted together. And I said, that doesn't work for me. I appreciate the call very much, and I vote how I vote, and but thanks for the call. What do you say to that? I mean, it was just madness. And it really was not true. If you look back at the voting records, there would be some bills that were obvious that we all voted the same way on. But when you look at the really controversial bills, none of us voted all together. It was crazy. But it was this maybe assumption that I could be just kind of taken in. I was also told by a female rep that I was not supposed to talk for the first 2 years I was on council. I was supposed to sit there and listen. And I said, that doesn't work for me, because if I don't speak, my people in Creek District don't have a voice. I am their voice. And if I don't speak, you're asking a whole district to be silent, and I don't agree with that, and I did not follow that. So there were just crazy expectations just because I was a woman. And again, it goes back to the attitudes of our oppressors. When we first made contact with Europeans, they thought it was foreign that a woman made decisions about her own body. The law professor, Muscogee citizen, Sarah Deer, talks about this in one of her books, where she says that, they thought it was crazy that a woman could decide the punishment for someone who sexually assaulted her. That was very foreign to them. And the fact that a woman had any standing in the community or their own household or over decisions that were made, of a people, they thought that was foreign. So all of these things, all of these boxes that we put women in, and we hold them down, and we say, you're not good enough, you can't do this because you're a woman, and our daughters, our granddaughters, they see that. I believe in the saying, if I can see it, I can be it. So what does that tell our daughters when there are only 3 women on this council? And women, this is a challenge for you. More of us need to run. More of us need to step outside of our comfort zone. And it is uncomfortable, I'm not gonna lie. But you need to run. You need to make sure that your daughters and your granddaughters have a voice at this table, because it's important for their future.
That actually was going to be my next question. I was going to end with, what do you see in the future for Muscogee women? What do you hope for you say the way that it is now, what do you hope for it to be?
The future that I see for Muscogee people, not just women, but for Muscogee people, is to take back our culture and embrace our original teachings, to completely 100% not tolerate or accept any bad behavior that we experience on this campus, right? I've been slapped on the rear end in the middle of my office. That should be completely unacceptable and never tolerated. I have had women who come to me and say, I'm being sexually harassed, can you look into it? And I say, yes, I can look into it, but then they're afraid to actually put anything in writing because they know they'll get fired, right? And that's gotten better since this last administration came in, but it just, until we have a culture, until we create a culture, until we demand a culture as employees, as tribal leaders, as tribal citizens, where we will not tolerate these behaviors anymore, we will not accept the teachings of our conquerors anymore. We still have our own battles to fight here before we can go out there and fight with the rest of the world. We focus so much on talking to other governments, yet we won't even sit down with the tribal town and try to work something out before we go and raid a premises. That's crazy to me. That's not our Muscogee way. We have to get back to our original teachings, and we have to give our kids something to believe in. One of the things I always heard on the campaign trail is we don't have enough Creek citizens that come to work here. Well, when we completely micromanage salaries and we micromanage departments, why would anyone want to come here and deal with that when they can be somewhere else and not deal with that, right? I mean, I dream of a place that people can be proud to come and they can be proud to advocate for, and that really makes a mark and determines a brighter future for our younger people.